Did this grand finale top the last season's grand finale of The Mandalorian? I think it did. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome to Love the Movie Troy. This is Troy, and this is the channel where we talk about movies. So look, check me out. The final episode of The Mandalorian Season 2. It's called The Rescue. This episode is great. It goes hard, man. This episode is phenomenal. Now listen, here's the thing about this episode, right? Anybody that knows my complaints about this season, I think this season is phenomenal. This is a great season. I don't have a lot of complaints about this season, but the one complaint I do have is I felt like they were letting other characters come into the Mandalorian show and overshadow him. They were setting up other shows down the line, other television series down the line, and they were using the Mandalorian show to do that, and I felt like that's weak. You know what I mean? This is the Mandalorian show. Yes, we love Boba Fett. Yes, we love Bo-Katan. Yes, we love Ahsoka, but their characters we've seen plenty of times. This is the Mandalorian show, and I felt like you don't bring on a bunch of characters and to take his light just because you want to set up other things. Now, that being said, Luke is in this episode, right? And you would think, I'm like, okay, well, that trend continues. No, it doesn't, right? They execute it perfectly. Like, see, here's the thing. I don't mind characters showing up in The Mandalorian. Just don't have them overshadow The Mandalorian just because, you know, you want them to shine so that way it could create a bunch of hype for another show or something else. In this episode, the Mandalorian was such a badass. He fought and took on one of the robot stormtroopers or whatever in a badass fight to the death, it felt like. You know, he took on Moff Gideon going up against the Darksaber, and Moff Gideon is a straight up badass. I enjoy his character. I'm gonna get a little bit into his character a little bit later. He took on that character. You know, he was the front runner of this show. It was his episode, right? And you know, we seen him over and over been that guy. And then at the end they say, okay, Luke saved the day. I don't mind that, and I love that. Luke went ham in this episode. Okay, this is far too late, but this is going to have spoilers. I'm sorry, I didn't lead the show with that, but when an episode is this good, I jump right into it. You know how it go. So listen, Luke puts in work. I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but this is what we all here for, right? Luke is the chosen one's son. He's Anakin Skywalker's son, Darth Vader's son, for anyone that had never watched Star Wars in their life, right? And this takes place after Return of the Jedi, so he's already a Jedi badass. He already is probably fully trained. You know, he does his own thing. He's a savage, right? And, you know, the reasoning for Luke being there is what I love so much about this episode. It wasn't that Luke appeared. The problem I had with a lot of these characters appearing in this season is you felt like they were there just to be there. Like, oh, look, it's Bo-Katan, or oh, look, it's Boba Fett, right? But, oh, look, it's Ahsoka. But Luke, they've been setting this up for 2 seasons now. Last season and all of this season, that a Jedi would be the one to have to train this kid. You know, we knew from when we first seen him use the Force, it was like, okay, Jedi is going to be involved some way, shape, or form. Who is the last remaining Jedi in the universe? Luke. So we seen this coming. It made so much sense for Luke to appear, right? And so I didn't feel like he was there for the sake of being there, because it's Luke and he's cool and it's a Star Wars, and so let's see a fun character appear in the show. No, it matched the story. And once that matched, and once that made sense, and once that was accurate and it had continuity, then I could fall in love with the action, right? So when the second I knew it was Luke, when you seen he had a green lightsaber, I said, oh, that will work. And then I got into him just being a badass, just chopping dudes down. I mean, it's a scene that lines up beautiful with the scene from Rogue One where Vader at the end just puts in work on all of those rebels. He just starts dominating them just with his lightsaber. Do. And it's a scene that like is shot, is framed the same exact way. Only the difference is this time it's Luke with his green lightsaber putting in work. Right, it's one scene, and one of the things I always loved about Luke as a character is like he kind of seemingly embraced a little bit of the dark side. Like he always had his dark hoodie on, and certain things that he's force choking somebody at the beginning of the Return of Jedi. Like he's doing things that like only dark siders would do, but he never went to the dark side. He never let nothing like that consume him. It's just he grew up with not Jedis around, so he kind of learned his own path. And what I like about in this episode where Luke shows up and he dominates is that he does some evil type of shit. Like he literally force squeezes this stormtrooper, the robotic stormtrooper, and he just crushes him. I was like, that is savage. It is savage, man. Like he was a straight savage, just taking dudes out. Come here, your turn. Like using the force, pushing dudes. I mean, it was Luke's best moment as a character to me. Like he never had a moment that badass and that phenomenal as a character in terms of action. They topped everything, and I actually loved him in The Last Jedi. You know, a lot of people didn't like him in The Last Jedi. I loved him in The Last Jedi, but I think I like this a little bit more. Yeah, so and to me, like a huge topic of discussion for this episode is gonna be the CGI, you know, the face, the CGI. And to me, it looked good. I mean, it wasn't a masterpiece. I didn't look at it and was like, is that Mark Hamill? Huh? Like, is he back or is he young again? Like, no, it wasn't that good. But look, it didn't take me out of the moment. It didn't take me out the scene. It worked for me because as long as I'm looking at him and I recognize and I see what they're doing and they're doing it for continuity purposes, I'd much rather them do that than cast someone that looks like them. And I'm not a big fan of the recasting thing. You know, I hate it when they did it with Han Solo, and I'm just glad they didn't do it here. It's for one scene where they show his face. It'll be okay. You know what I mean? It's not gonna kill anybody to de-age them for a scene and do how they did it. And so for me, it was cool. I didn't have a problem with it. The voice matched for the most part, and it, you know, to me it worked. I enjoyed it. So I liked, and the way they executed it, man. You really do feel emotional when Baby Yoda, and yes, I'm calling him Baby Yoda, when Baby Yoda has to leave the Mando. Like they bond over 2 seasons. You really bought into that. You really felt like the Mando was his father in a way, you know. And the thing that was so sad about it is both of them, the Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian, knew what they needed to do. They knew they needed to let Baby Yoda go with Luke and train and do whatever. And you know, seeing R2 show up, and one of my favorite parts about R2 showing up is it makes sense. It's like, duh, R2 would be with him. Like they're homies, you know what I mean? Luke, R2, they homies. Even in The Last Jedi, one of the best scenes with Luke was with R2, when he sees R2 and he like starts acting happy, like he becomes the Luke from the way we known him in The Last Jedi. And so like I love how R2 was there, and I love how R2 played a part in helping Baby Yoda feel comfortable with going with Luke, and it was executed very well. You know, and I think this episode was executed very well. Now, Bo-Katan, you can make the argument because the whole little thing with the Darksaber almost became like a little side story. The Mando beat Moff Gideon, and he won the Darksaber. The black saber is his. Like, he earned it. And the Mando like, here, Bo-Katan, you can have it. You know, she can't accept it because you have to win it in battle. And so that little dynamic, I was like, okay, I like that. So they kind of made me jump on board with Bo-Katan being in this season. I was like, okay, just from that alone. And, you know, I got to say, before I go, I got to give Moff Gideon some love. That's such a good character. He's such a good villain. He's so smart. He's so intelligent. Like, when he made it seem like he was going to let the Mando go, like, I bought it. Because it was the way he delivered his dialogue, the way he was like, all right, you could go, the way he made it make sense, the way you're like, okay, he's going to let him go. And I understand why he would let him go. And then once he, turns his back, he tries to strike Mando. That's something in battle that you use your smarts, and even after he was captured, he was, like instigating. And it was like, you hear him saying like, oh, y'all are done. These droids are coming to save me. And you barely could get by one, Mando. Like, what chance you have? Like, and even he tried to off himself. He was like, fuck it. Like, he's such a good character. And I want to see more of this character. I hope he shows up again in either comics or cartoons, or he shows up in future episodes of the Mando. I just hope it's not the end of his character, and I don't think it is, because that's why he didn't die. But he's a fantastic character. This was a fantastic episode, and this was a fantastic season. I'm excited about the next season, and I'm excited about a lot of the stuff Star Wars got coming. And yeah, man, this is a 10 out of 10 episode. I just gotta say, I hope these next seasons be as good as the first 2 seasons. I hope it don't start to go on a downward spiral at some point. I hope they can continue this level of storytelling. Thank y'all. Thanks for watching the video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm out. Bye-bye.